Xiaomi had just passed the entrance exam to the city's one high school. The admission letter clearly stated that female students were not allowed to have hair past their shoulders. Xiaomi refused, but her father considered the admission letter as an order. As a result, Xiaomi looked 10 years older after cutting her hair. Going out, Xiaomi encountered a pickpocket. She wanted to help someone, so she snatched back the wallet. At the same time, she tripped him, causing him to fall to the ground. Xiaomi returned the wallet to its owner. The little girl's courage made everyone around her admire her, including her friend named Roshi. He couldn't take his eyes off Xiaomi's interest. The next day, when she went to school, Xiaomi was surprised to see that her friends still had long hair past their shoulders. While her parents went to get their daily necessities, Xiaomi went to look at the class classification chart. She heard that class number 1 had a super cool couple, Fuan and Ruolei. Xiaomi was very happy to see that she was in their class. She ran out and almost bumped into a friend riding a bike in school. Returning to the dormitory, Xiaomi welcomed a free sky. Seeing that everyone had a mat, she guessed that her father forgot to get one for her. Passing by the soccer field, Xiaomi recognized the friend, who almost bumped into her. Roshi's appearance of playing soccer made Xiaomi want to look a little more. The two of them were originally in different directions, but Xiaomi saw the ball flying towards Roshi. She quickly pulled him back, but accidentally let the ball hit Roshi's chest. Roshi recognized the brave girl from the day before. He smiled and returned the ball to the basket. Unexpectedly, Xiaomi quickly returned to class. When she got to the classroom, Xiaomi couldn't get through the door. She thought she had encountered the legendary invisible boundary, so she carefully investigated. Roshi adjusted the mat behind Xiaomi and pushed her into the classroom. He asked her which sect she belonged to, that she couldn't break even a little invisible boundary. Xiaomi angrily entered the classroom. She was even angrier when Roshi still laughed at her. This was Fan Yuan, a math whiz. Junyi, who was in class 2, refused to give up after losing his entrance exam score to Fan Yuan, so he came over to challenge Fan Yuan. Instead of solving math problems, he wanted to do Sudoku. The classmates couldn't miss the battle between the two best students in the school. In the 15 minutes before class, whoever solved more numbers would win. Xiaomi watched them continuously write down numbers without having to count them. She thought that the mind of a math whiz was indeed different from hers. Her words accidentally attracted Fan Yuan's attention. Seeing her opponent distracted, Junyi confidently assumed victory. Her classmate, Yu Han, who had studied with Fan Yuan, was sure that he wouldn't lose. Sure enough, Fan Yuan quickly surpassed his opponent, but unfortunately he broke the chalk when he was about to write the last number. Fan Yuan, after receiving the chalk from Roshi, ended the match at the same time as Junyi. Both of their answers were correct. Junyi admitted defeat to Fan Yuan. Roshi demanded half of his best friend's score. Fan Yuan's eyes were still attracted by Xiaomi's naivety. When he returned to class, he specifically looked for her name on the class list, and coincidentally, he met her right outside the door. Fan Yuan saw a friend named Zhao Rui sitting at the same table as Xiaomi. He used a precious book to switch places with Zhao Rui, and then approached to ask Xiaomi if she still remembered him. However, she only knew that he was the best student in the class. At this moment, Goddess Ruolei walked in. Under the admiring eyes of the male students, Da Chao sprang. You wanted to invite her to be his deskmate, but he fell to the ground. The homeroom teacher named Chao Yun came in to introduce herself to the class. In order to get to know each other, the teacher invited each student to use 3 keywords to describe themselves. Fan Yuan was the first to be invited, and he was indeed a top student. His 3 keywords were all related to mathematics. Fan Yuan saw Xia Mai avoiding him, so he invited Roshi to introduce himself. His positive energy made everyone exclaim the word cool. Xiao Jun suddenly remembered that Roshi was a killer on the basketball court. After the introduction, Roshi pointed out Xiaomi to the board. She said that she liked reading stories and watching movies. Being teased by her friend as a mushroom head, Xiaomi returned to her seat in embarrassment. Hearing Fan Yuan compliment her hair, Xiaomi forced a bitter smile. Xiao Yun appointed Fan Yuan to be in charge of the male group and Jia Rong to be in charge of the female group. She asked her students to gather at the square early in the morning for military training. Gathering the group in the same dormitory, Xiao Yu took them to top up their cards. Xiao Yu saw that Ruolei had not topped up much money, so she was afraid that Ruolei wouldn't have enough to last until the end of the month. Hearing Ruolei say that she ate very little, Xiaomi admired her friend's figure. During the first military lesson, the whole class was forced to stand at attention for 30 minutes. Under the scorching sun, everyone couldn't breathe. You pretended to be dizzy to lie down and rest for a while. Unexpectedly, the officer rubbed balm on the corner of his eyes, causing him to sting so much that he recovered. However, Xiaomi couldn't hold on any longer and fell into Roshi's arms. Fan Yuan quickly carried Xiaomi to the infirmary. The doctor diagnosed that Xiaomi had had not eaten breakfast and had hypoglycemia. Fan Yuan heard that Xiaomi wanted to eat steak and ran to buy it. Looking at the drip of the IV, Xiaomi had a new idea. When no one was around, she drank some of the water in the bottle. Xiaomi heard Roshi's voice and frantically covered it up, but she spilled the water on Roshi. Roshi was afraid that the hanging tree would fall on Xiaomi, so he quickly supported her. Seeing that he was about to call the doctor, Xiaomi drank the whole IV bottle in one gulp, much to Roshi's admiration. As Fan Yuan brought the food back, he wondered why the huge bottle of water had already been infused. Despite Xiaomi's threats, Roshi still boasted that Xiaomi had finished the whole bottle of water. Fan Yuan reminded her that this time she could drink the fruit juice. But what if she took other medicine next time? Xiaomi pretended to be dizzy and asked the team leader to ask for leave for her. Back at the dormitory, Role was worried about Xiaomi's health. She made brown sugar water and prepared some candy for Xiaomi. Xiao Yu and Jia Rong told Xiaomi a series of jokes during the first military lesson, in which Da Yu ripped his pants as soon as he stepped forward. On the second lesson, the officer made the whole class march in unison. Xiaomi was scared because each of her legs had its own thoughts. The teacher asked Jun Yi, who laughed the loudest, to step out of line. The officer reminded the whole class to march in a mischievous manner while still in a playful mood. The teacher criticized Xiaomi and Role for talking during practice, which affected the other students. Roshi spoke up, hoping that the teacher would help the students adjust instead of blaming them. The officer said that if Roshi had the ability, she should teach the students herself. Roshi asked for permission to privately counsel the two students. He analyzed that Xiaomi's wrong steps were due to her focusing too much on the teacher's commands, so she had to adjust her mentality. She had to try not to look at the officer during practice. Roshi returned to the classroom to ask the teacher to check his teaching results. Sure enough, Roshi's method worked on Xiaomi. The officer recognized Roshi's ability. After school, Fan Yuan returned the water bottle to Xiaomi. She praised his memory for remembering after just one look. Fan Yuan said that even though he had seen it once when he was young, he would never forget it. At the cafeteria, Roshi quickly grabbed a seat opposite Xiaomi. He waited for her to thank him. Roshi wondered if a girl who ate as fast as Xiaomi would choke. She was so angry that she couldn't swallow her food. At this moment, she met the school principal. The teacher reminded Xiaomi to enlarge her eyes to look at the words to avoid wasting food. Xiaomi promised to eat all the leftover rice. Sure enough, she did what she said. She finished the rice in a flash, making Roshi laugh. During the evening exchange, Roshi was chosen to be the host of the party. He announced that his class had received an excellent title in military training. To increase cohesion, Roshi organized a frog counting game. Xiaomi was the first loser. She decided to sing a song for the whole class. Who would have thought that Xiaomi's singing voice was inversely proportional to her confidence? Junyi sarcastically said that Xiaomi was still singing kindergarten songs in high school. Roshi spoke up to defend her. He led the whole class to sing with Xiaomi. It was the instructor's turn to organize a cockfighting game, and Junyi won before even fighting. It turned out that the gift of the game was a set of literature workbooks. Before saying goodbye to the officer, the whole class sang a song to send the teacher off. During the month of training, there were both hardships and joys, but everything was just a beautiful memory. To train their physical strength, the whole class had to run 800 m every morning. Roshi looked at Xiaomi, who was out of breath. He reminded Fan Yuan to count slower. Back in class, Xiaomi picked up Fan Yuan's hairpin. She laughed because she thought he was still collecting girls' things. Fan Yuan asked Xiaomi if she was not impressed by the hairpin. She didn't remember, but she recognized her favorite drink on his desk. Fan Yuan said that he had met Xiaomi on a cruise ship to Guilin. At that time, she had tied her hair in 2 braids, and there was a small mole under her eye. After they broke up, she gave Fan Yuan the hairpin. She also promised to come back to find him after the trip. Xiaomi remembered that she had indeed gone to Guilin when she was young, but the person she met was named Lu Shang. Moreover, she didn't give him the hairpin either. During recess, Fan Yuan said that the teacher couldn't find Xiaomi's math exercise book. Sure enough, her notebook was in her bag. However, Xiaomi was sure that she had turned it in to the teacher. She suspected that someone dared to play dirty tricks on her. Seeing Roshi being intimate with Yuhan, Xiaomi's suspicions grew more and more. While eavesdropping, she was accidentally pushed down by a classmate, but Roshi couldn't catch her in time. Roshi looked at Xiaomi's angry expression. He pretended to have lost his memory. She asked him directly if he dared to hide her exercise book. Roshi didn't understand what she was talking about. Xiaomi believed he was innocent, but she told Roshi to stay 10 meters away from her from now on. He wondered if he was like an unlucky mold. Early in the morning, Xiaojun bought breakfast for almost the whole class. Seeing Roshi passing by, he quickly hitched a ride to get to school on time. Unexpectedly, Eventually, the two of them were punished by the homeroom teacher for being a minute late. Xiaomi felt satisfied that Roshi's bad luck had spread to Xiaojun, but she was laughing 1 second, and then the next second she was punished to run another lap of the field. Roshi saw Xiaomi being left behind. He turned back to push her shoulder to help her. Fan Yuan saw this and also helped Ro Lei. Finally, everyone finished jogging. Xiaomi thanked Roshi, but he pretended not to hear. However, Roshi insisted that he was not Xiaomi's unlucky mold. After a while of questioning, she still thought that he was late, and that was why the whole class was punished. Today, when she returned to class, Xiaojun opened a breakfast stall for his classmates. Xiaomi wanted to buy spicy crackers but was stopped by Xiao Yu. She remembered that the crackers outside the school gate were only 4 yuan, but Xiaojun sold them for 5 yuan. Hearing Xiao Yu's accusation, the class monitor reminded Xiaojun not to trade goods in the classroom and asked him to quickly return the change to his classmates. During self-study, Xiaomi continued to secretly eat spicy crackers. The class monitor saw it but deliberately covered up for the girl he had feelings for. Roshi came to remind Xiaomi to cover the front, but the back was exposed. Fan Yuan saw the homeroom teacher and immediately ran down to cover Xiaomi. After the teacher left, Fan Yuan was forced to take back Xiaomi's spicy cake. When it was time for recess, Fan Yuan apologized for being strict with Xiaomi. She didn't blame him because it was the responsibility of a class monitor. She knew that Fan Yuan hadn't done it on purpose. Unlike a certain someone, Xiaomi wanted to let Roshi taste the evil taste. So after shaking the bottle of Coca-Cola vigorously, Xiaomi gave it to Roshi. She thanked him for protecting her from being caught by the homeroom teacher. Roshi felt a little uneasy when she saw Xiaomi's sinister expression. He used the excuse that his hands were dirty to ask her to open the can of soda for him. Xiaomi pretended to be weak and couldn't open the bottle cap. Dayu suddenly snatched the can of water and suffered Coca's outburst of anger. Xiaomi discovered that Roshi knew she was playing tricks with the can of water and was deliberately making things difficult for her. Dayu asked the two to pay attention to the victim, who was him. Taking advantage of the break, Fan Yuan re-explained the math problem to Xiaomi. Roshi listened to her praising the class president to the skies. He was itching to tease and repeat Xiaomi's cheesy words. She angrily started chasing and beating Roshi. Fan Yuan tried to console her but couldn't stop this pair of enemies. In the afternoon class, Xiaomi saw her desk full of trash. Xiao Yu came forward to question who dared to eat lunch and leave trash on Xiaomi's desk. Xiaojun thought that Xiao Yu had to have evidence. He asked which eye of Xiao Yu saw the other students doing it. Since no one claimed it, Xiaomi decided to share the trash so as not to suffer alone. Xiaojun asked his classmates to judge. She came forward and praised Xiaomi for doing a good job. The class monitor told the whole class to go back to their seats, but in the end Xiaomi still took out the trash. During recess, Roshi was afraid that Xiaomi would misunderstand, so he swore that he didn't leave the trash on her desk. Xiaomi said that if the oath came true, half of the population would be struck by lightning. After school, Xiaomi saw Yuhan dragging Roshi away, and she and Ruolei went to catch them talking about harming her. It turned out that Yuhan asked Roshi to pretend to be her boyfriend, to reject the guy who had been pursuing her all this time. Seeing that the script was more unpleasant than an idol drama, Xiaomi decided to embellish it. She played the role of the lover who was deceived by Roshi, and he immediately got into character and explained that his heart was only for Xiaomi. The fat guy told everyone to stop acting. He revealed that he was only teasing Yuhan because she rejected his best friend's feelings. The fat boy returned the heart-shaped candy to Xiaomi. Just as Fan Yuan walked over, he was shocked. Hearing the homeroom teacher's voice, they quickly ran away. The next day, the teacher returned the math test to the whole class, in which Fan Yuan, Roshi, and Jiarong were the 3 who got perfect scores. On the contrary, Xiaomi was the only student who left the last question blank. She was not satisfied when Ruoshi stayed on the basketball court all day and still got perfect scores. During recess, Roshi teased Xiaomi again. He affirmed that he really did not hide her workbook. Xiaomi knew, so she agreed to cross his name off the record book. To thank him for this, Roshi gave Xiaomi a lucky charm. He believed it would help her do better on the test and stop frowning. At the training ground, Xiao Yu was challenging Xiaojun. Seeing her opponent win, Xiao Yu was not satisfied. She thought that her team was inherently weak because there were many girls. And as the mediator, Ruoshi decided to play one last game to determine the winner. The red team, led by Xiaomi, paid more attention to the rhythm. Unexpectedly, Dayu slipped and fell, causing the whole team to break in the middle. Xiaomi did not give up. She continued to encourage her teammates' fighting spirit. A member of the blue team suddenly slipped. This situation helped the red team come back and win. Xiaojun accepted defeat and agreed to bring breakfast for free, but a person on the blue new team was not convinced. She thought that the competition had to be based on results to be meaningful. Xiao Yu was happy that Fan Yuan was in her dormitory. The opponent wondered if Fan Yuan could pull Xiaomi's last place record. Xiao Jun relied on Roshi's performance in everything to cultivate Xiaomi. Xiao Yu had made a study plan, and besides winning or losing, she didn't want Xiaomi to be laughed at by her classmates. Xiaomi remembered that she was once laughed at by her classmates just because her math results were not up to par, and she still sat in science class. This time, Xiaomi was determined not to let others look down on her. She handed over her phone, all her magazines and romance novels to Xiao Yu. Roshi saw that Xiaomi was reluctant to read the magazine because she hadn't read the last page, so he ran to the bookstore to buy another one for her. Hearing that Roshi wanted to show her what was hidden on her person, Xiaomi thought he was a pervert. Looking at the magazine, she immediately admitted that she was a pervert, and Roshi was both beautiful and kind. Unexpectedly, Dayu caught Xiaomi secretly reading the magazine and reported it to Xiao Yu. Xiaomi turned around and swore to never live under the same sky with her rival. In the movie class, Fan Yuan biasedly chose the movie that Xiaomi recommended. Seeing that she was under pressure from studying, he wanted Xiaomi to relax a bit. However, she had watched this movie too many times, so she used the time to study another subject. On the school grounds, Xiaomi met an old classmate named Jian Li. She did not expect Xiaomi to also be admitted to the first high school. Ruo Lei threatened to tell the homeroom teacher that Jian Li painted her nails. Xiaomi trembled as she recounted that Jian Li transferred schools in the middle of her school year. When she was in the same class with her, Xiaomi had bad grades, which affected the overall score of the whole class. Seeing Xiaomi hunched over doing the test, her classmates nicknamed her Little Shrimp. Ruo Lei believed that as long as Xiaomi tried hard, no one would dare to laugh at her. When Xiaomi returned to class, her classmates called her a silly little shrimp. She didn't like to listen, but they continued to tease her. Xiao Jun even drew pictures of small shrimps to mock her classmates. Fan Yuan and Roshi entered the classroom at the same time, forcing Xiao Jun to apologize to Xiaomi. Xiao Jun thought that the class president couldn't control his mouth. Roshi resolutely pressed Xiao Jun's head in front of Xiaomi. She took out the official paper and sent a challenge letter to Xiao Jun. Xiaomi insisted that she wouldn't lose. Seeing that Xiaomi was still upset, Fan Yuan bought delicious food to coax her. Xiaomi confided that her parents were busy, so they sent her to school early, perhaps because her mind couldn't develop fast enough. She always ranked last in exams. Her classmates nicknamed her the stupid shrimp. They secretly stuck the paper on her back, causing Xiaomi to be laughed at by the whole school. Who would have thought that near the end of junior high school, her grades would improve and she would pass the entrance exam to the first high school? She believed that God was giving her a new chance, but she didn't expect that she would still be destined to be at the bottom. Fan Yuan thought that things had changed, and many classmates liked to play with Xiaomi. She also thanked God for letting her meet such a good group of friends. On the soccer field, Roshi challenged Xiao Jun to a 100m race. If Xiao Jun lost, he would have to apologize to Xiaomi and Fan Yuan. If Roshi lost, he would call Xiao Jun Big Brother. Xiao Jun said that he used to practice the 100m race. He even broke the middle school record. The match started and Roshi quickly caught up and won. Xiao Jun accepted that he had lost. When he returned to class, Xiao Jun apologized for calling Xiaomi a small shrimp. To atone for his sins, he would make the students who had teased Xiaomi apologize to her. The teachers were writing blessings for the teacher. Roshi also left a comment. He thanked the teachers for always being patient with the mischief of the students. Xiaomi's idea of a thank you wall newspaper touched teacher Qiao Yun very much on Teacher's Day. During lunch break, Xiaomi stayed in class to finish the manuscript to send to the magazine. Roshi was pushed by Xiao Jun and accidentally soiled the manuscript. Roshi looked at her worriedly and quickly apologized. He promised to copy another manuscript for Xiaomi in order to send it to the editorial office on time. Roshi secretly copied the manuscript during class. The teacher caught him and quickly hid the manuscript in the desk drawer. Because Roshi answered the difficult question, the teacher let him off. Finally, Roshi finished copying the manuscript. Out of respect for his beautiful handwriting, Xiaomi forgave her classmate. He also left a message wishing her to win a medal soon. Knowing that Xiaomi went to the post office, Roshi offered to be the driver to take her to the mailbox. Xiaomi prayed for good luck. Roshi pulled her back and passed on all his luck to Xiaomi. On the way back, Xiaomi shared her dream of becoming a writer. Roshi admired her because he didn't know what he wanted to do yet. Roshi saw Xiaomi off at the bus stop. He took a photo of the bus number to her house. When he got home, Roshi spent the whole evening commenting and looking at Xiaomi's photos online. He saw that her childhood was similar to his, being chased down 3 alleys by dogs, and he smiled foolishly to himself. But because Because there was too much homework, Xiaomi poured knowledge into her head, hoping for a miracle. Fan Yuan thought that memorization was a skill, and he would teach her during self-study. Fan Yuan's secret to memorizing spread throughout the class. Unable to miss this good opportunity, the group of friends secretly followed Xiaomi. Fan Yuan took her to an abandoned studio, a secret location discovered by Roshi. Seeing Fan Yuan start teaching, the students rushed in. As a result, a small self-study class was held under Fan Yuan's instruction. Everyone was listening attentively, except for Roshi, who turned his eyes to Xiaomi. Hearing her question, he immediately taught with the class monitor. Roshi saw that Xiaomi couldn't solve the problem, so he was faster than Fan Yuan to tutor her. He patiently explained and kept encouraging Xiaomi, helping her understand the lesson quickly. Role wanted to ask Roshi, but Xiao Jun took it away. The midterm exam officially began. In order to improve the team's performance, Xiao Jun copied the answers to help his friends, but he accidentally threw them on Xiaomi's desk. The teacher saw Xiaomi holding the answer sheet and thought she was cheating on the test. Xiaomi tried to explain, but the teacher still took her paper. Going down to the teacher's office, Xiaomi insisted that the answer sheet wasn't hers, but the teacher became more suspicious when her test papers were all correct. Xiaomi said that she had recently received extra tutoring from the class monitor, which was why she had improved so much. To prove it, she did it again in front of the teacher. Instead of waiting for the whole class, the teacher asked Xiaomi to solve another problem. When Xiaomi started to panic, Fan Yuan came to clear her name. He showed the teacher Xiaomi's math scratch paper, but the teacher still made her finish the difficult question. The teacher allowed the class monitor to give Xiaomi more guidance. Hearing them say exactly the same thing, the teacher believed that Xiaomi improved thanks to Fan Yuan. Then Roshi brought two classmates to confess to the teacher. They were the ones who cheated on the test. When leaving, Xiaomi honored the class monitor as a hero. Roshi was jealous and reminded her that she had not thanked him yet. Xiaomi thanked Roshi for being able to catch the criminal to confess in time. Xiao Jun came to apologize to Xiaomi. She didn't blame him, but wanted his team to admit defeat. Although the test results weren't out yet, cheating was a loss. Xiaomi accepted the apology sincerely and advised Xiao Jun to admit his mistakes and correct them. In class, Miss Xiao Yun praised the students for doing well and ranking first in the entire grade, with Xiaomi making remarkable progress. She announced that the school would hold a basketball match, and she assigned Xiao Jun to be in charge of organizing the team, while Xiao Yu was in charge of cheering. But on the basketball court, Xiaomi was ridiculed by her classmates in grade 7 for her hair, but now she was confident in the face of criticism because it was a specialized class. The sportsmanship of grade 1 was not very enthusiastic. Xiao Jun also chose unreliable students to participate in the competition. He relied entirely on Roshi. When the match started, Zhao Rui innocently passed the ball to his teammates. Even though Roshi was good, it was difficult for him to balance the whole team. Grade 7 kept putting the ball into the basket. Roshi looked at Xiaomi to continue his efforts. He took every opportunity to throw the ball to his teammates. After a long time, Xiao Jun asked for a break because Roshi fell. Xiaomi's anxiety was a numbing medicine for Roshi. Xiao Yu thought that his class's formation was not compatible. In order to regain his honor, Fan Yuan decided to go out on the field without Xiao Jun's permission. Roshi, despite his sore leg, still decided to play a match with his teammates. The coordination between the two close friends continuously won points. After half the game, the first class had narrowed the score gap. Seeing the rising sportsmanship, many students volunteered to join the match. Roshi decided to reform the team and make a comeback. In the second half, the scores of the two classes were close together. With only 10 seconds left, Dayu threw the ball to Roshi. From a great distance, Roshi successfully put the ball into the net, winning for class 1. After the celebration, his eyes were only on Xiaomi. The boys' soccer team carried Roshi back to the dormitory. Xiaomi bought ice cream for everyone. She was worried that Roshi would be injured and not be able to play tomorrow. He approached her and whispered in her ear that for Xiaomi, he would definitely win tomorrow. Xiaomi quickly ran back to the dormitory. It turned out that she had taken a pack of bandages for Roshi. He promised to use up all the bandages. Xiaomi gently helped Roshi back to her room. The next match was against class 2. Their cheering was very special, but the cheering team of class 1 did not give up. Xiaomi changed her hairstyle, making Roshi and Fan Yuan unable to take their eyes off her. Xiao Yu kept up with the dance to suppress the opponent's momentum. The strange and interesting movements made the entire soccer field tremble. Roshi compared Xiaomi to a balloon person in the supermarket. He boasted that he had put an X-shaped bandage on her. Fan Yuan complimented Xiaomi's hairstyle. He also did not forget to cheer up the class. The game started. Fan Yuan won the ball. He passed it to Roshi to score. Junyi changed the team's tactics. He repeatedly touched the opponent. He even deliberately tripped helped Roshi. Xiaomi said that her class had caught up with the other team's trick, so she forced Junyi to apologize. Roshi saw Junyi touching Xiaomi, and Ruoshi immediately fought back. The referee reminded Junyi that if he continued to use tricks, he would be disqualified. The game continued. The two teams were closely matched in score. With less than a minute left, Class 1 was 1 point behind. In the last few seconds, Roshi kicked the ball into the net, winning all 3 points for the team. Class 1 celebrated the victory. Everyone praised Roshi. Unexpectedly, the ball bounced off Roshi's hand and hit Xiaomi in the head. Fuan ran back but was pushed away by Yuhan. Roshi quickly carried Xiaomi to the infirmary. The doctor diagnosed that Xiaomi's ankle was red and swollen, and she could not watch the game anymore. She blamed Ruoshi for having a big injury and only put a tiny bandage on it. She told the other two classmates to go back to class. Hearing Xiaomi's complaints, Roshi found a way to help her watch the game. Knowing that Xiaomi would be bored staying in class, Fuan bought her a lot of snacks. When the classmates went out, Roshi gave Xiaomi a gift. It turned out that he had prepared binoculars to help her watch the game. He also bought Xiaomi a Mariko-shaped pen that she liked. Xiaomi used the binoculars to look at Roshi. She reached for him and accidentally touched Roshi's hand. Before going to the court, Roshi wanted to receive Xiaomi's special cheers. She temporarily returned Roshi's luck. His smile made Xiaomi flutter. When the game started, Roshi scored the first point for the upper class. Xiaomi kept following him. After each time he put the ball into the basket, Roshi looked up at Xiaomi. His victory celebration was only for her. After winning the championship, Roshi ran back to meet Xiaomi. He boasted that he had put 20 balls into the basket and did not waste her luck. He wondered if Xiaomi treasured his gift so much. She explained that she only cared about the beautiful memories under the lens. Roshi asked for the binoculars back, but Xiaomi did not return them. Class 1 celebrated the victory. Teacher Qiao Yun announced that the whole class would have a break from self-study today. Xiaomi congratulated him, but he asked her to show it with actions. Roshi said that her parents were going on a business trip next week, so he wanted Xiaomi to cook for him. During the holiday, Roshi looked forward to Xiaomi. When he saw her bring food, he rushed out to greet her. Roshi specially used etiquette to welcome Chef Xiaomi. Xiaomi watched him prepare a cabinet of ingredients. She revealed that she only knew how to cook braised pork. Roshi coaxed her. He volunteered to be an assistant cutting meat and washing vegetables. Xiaomi carried a bottle of oil but accidentally tripped and fell on Roshi. He pretended to be injured and asked Xiaomi to help him. Seeing that his hands were dirty, Xiaomi asked him to get something from his nose. After wiping all the cooking oil off the floor, Roshi invited Xiaomi into the kitchen. He pretended to cut his hand, making her worry about him. Roshi looked at Xiaomi's clumsiness. He was afraid that she would get burned, so he had to cook instead. Xiaomi discovered that Roshi knew how to cook but deliberately tricked her into cooking for him. Hearing Roshi cry out in pain, Xiaomi didn't want to be fooled again. However, he really got oil splashed on his hand. Roshi tasted the braised pork. He was sure that this dish was only found in heaven and that it was rare for humans to enjoy it. Hearing Xiaomi's mother come to pick up her daughter, Roshi quickly went out to greet her. He used all the best words to talk about his aunt. During the holiday, the group of friends organized a shooting trip. Xiaomi straightened her hair while wearing a skirt, making Roshi flutter. He was about to compliment Xiaomi, but Xiao Jun spoke first. Roshi was jealous when he heard him compliment Xiaomi. He immediately made her uglier. Xiaomi demanded that he return her silky hair. Roshi grabbed Xiaomi's hand. At this moment, Role called Xiaomi. Yuhan came to find Roshi wearing matching clothes with Xiaomi. After gathering the group of friends to play shooting, Xiaomi was grouped with Roshi, Role, and Xiao Jun. Roshi analyzed that his group was one person less, so he had to seize every opportunity. He told the two girls following him to try to aim accurately because each person only had 20 bullets. On this side, Fan Yuan knew that Roshi would attack first, so he came up with a defensive plan. The match started. Xiao Jun followed Roshi but was chased by Xiao Yu. Meanwhile, Ruo and Xiaomi chased Dai Yu, but unexpectedly Fan Yuan ambushed right behind. Roshi immediately came to Xiaomi's rescue. Role's support was immediately eliminated from the game by Yuhan. Roshi took Xiaomi to hide in the old car. In a panic, she hugged him tightly. In a shy moment, Xiaomi approached Roshi to catch the insect on his shoulder. Looking at his pale face, she discovered that Roshi was afraid of insects. Roshi saw Fan Yuan and immediately protected Xiaomi. Fan Yuan was just happy about the victory when Xiaomi shot back. Her determination made him feel a little sad. Xiaomi was happy too soon because the last survivor was Yuhan. At the end of the match, Roshi still had a backache because Fan Yuan shot too hard. Seeing Xiaomi worried, he pretended to be in pain. Dai asked his friends to take care of him when he was used as a shield by Xiao Yu. The group of friends excitedly promised to return soon. At the game shop, Roshi continued continued to decide the winner but could not surpass Fan Yuan. Roshi heard Xiaomi praise Fan Yuan. He said he had won 50 games, while Fan Yuan had only won 49 games. Xiaomi wondered if the two of them had played so many games. Had they known each other since they were young? Roshi said that when he was in elementary school, Fan Yuan had given in, so he reluctantly accepted this brother. Because it was convenient, Fan Yuan took Ruolei home first. Xiaomi said goodbye to Roshi because the bus route to her house was the opposite of his. As soon as she got on the bus, Roshi followed. He explained that he was afraid that she would cause harm, so he followed to protect the people around her. The car suddenly stopped. Roshi quickly pulled Xiaomi back. He still kept teasing her. He thought Xiaomi was angry, so he tried to coax her. Because the journey was still long, he gave her his headphones. Looking at Xiaomi sleeping soundly, Roshi revealed that he had lied to her when he said her hair was ugly. Seeing Xiaomi wake up, Roshi pretended to fall asleep. She secretly put the small keychain in his bag. After the break, the students returned to class listlessly. Teacher Xiao Yun reminded everyone to get back in the mood, just in time for Dayu to fart, making the whole class more lively. Seeing Fan Yuan sitting alone with an ice pack, Xiaomi worried that he had a fever. She told him that even though he was the class monitor, he had to take care of himself first. Xiaomi sighed, wondering when she would be trusted by others like him. Fan Yuan thought that living under everyone's expectations was tiring at times. Xiaomi advised him not to take all the burdens on himself. He could share with his friends. Xiaomi couldn't help much, but was willing to be his spiritual pillar. Fan Yuan took the opportunity to ask Xiaomi to go to the library with him to find books. She immediately turned into a little deer, willing to help him. Roshi teased Xiaomi that she looked more like a piglet. Back at the dormitory, Xiaomi received a notice that a literary magazine had selected her manuscript. On this side, Miss Xiaoyun knew that Roshi had filmed some public service commercials, so the teacher asked him to play the male lead in the school's propaganda film. Roshi read the script and nominated Xiaomi as the female lead. Just when Ruolei was handing in her paper, she heard the conversation between them. While she was handing in her English paper, Ruolei nominated herself as the female lead. She said that she had filmed some commercials for the middle school. Meanwhile, Roshi pulled Xiaomi to the wooden bridge. He congratulated her on her manuscript being accepted. It had a chance to be published in the next magazine. He revealed another piece of good news, hoping that she would erase all the grudges between them because of it. Roshi said that he was chosen to play the male lead in the propaganda film, so he recommended Xiaomi as the female lead. He thought that this film could cultivate her experience in writing novels. The homeroom teacher saw two students flirting on the bridge and thought they were in love. He tried his best to catch up with them, but Xiaomi accidentally dropped a shoe on the bridge. Roshi was afraid that her foot would hurt, so he carried Xiaomi and ran away, hiding in the lab. But Roshi's mouth still kept teasing Xiaomi. The homeroom teacher brought the shoe to give the two students a chance to confess to receive the lightest punishment. Roshi gave his shoe to Xiaomi. He ran to distract the homeroom teacher. While Xiaomi was scared, Roshi turned back and dragged her to the gym. Thinking back to the chase just now, she thought of Tom and Jerry. Xiaomi suddenly remembered that she had an appointment with Fan Yuan to find books, so she quickly ran back to class to find him. Xiaomi explained that she was late because the homeroom teacher chased her. Fan Yuan saw her and Roshi giving up the shoe back and forth, so he made an excuse to go see the teacher. Xiaomi felt guilty for breaking her promise to the class president. Roshi promised to find a reference book for him. During morning physical education, Fan Yuan continued to witness Roshi's concern for Xiaomi. Just when the homeroom teacher was looking for the owner of the shoe, Roshi told Xiaomi not to admit it, even if beaten to death. When questioned, Roshi insisted that he had never been to the wooden bridge. The homeroom teacher heard the conversation between the two students swearing not to go together, and praised Roshi and Xiaomi's spirit of enlightenment. When she returned to class today, Xiaomi asked the class monitor if he had received her water. Because he did not come to evening self-study yesterday and did not reply to her messages, she left the gift with an apology on the table. Seeing Xiaomi waiting for, Fan Yuan promised not to lose contact with her again. Xiaomi made an appointment to go find the book with him during lunch break. She asked Ruolei for help. She climbed high to get the book, but unfortunately slipped and fell on Ruolei. Roshi caught them in time. Roshi's action made Ruolei flustered. Roshi was worried in her heart, but blamed Xiaomi for being brainless. She fell just by picking up a book. Xiaomi heard this and immediately handed the job over to Roshi. Xiaomi took advantage of the time to secretly read a romance novel. Unexpectedly, Roshi was standing right behind her. He immediately acted as the evil young master whose attention was attracted by the little maid. Xiaomi, from now on I won't allow you to smile at others. As someone who loves romance novels, Xiaomi didn't miss the opportunity to try acting. Roshi, don't test my patience. Do you know you're playing with fire? When caught by her classmates, Xiaomi blushed. She and Roshi also went to find books for the class president. Roshi went to cheer for Fan Yuan on the encyclopedia exam. Roshi waited for a long time but did not see the candidate. He called and found out that Fan Yuan's car broke down on the way. At that moment, he met Xiaomi with a friend. Roshi quickly borrowed a car to pick up Fan Yuan. He used all his strength to get his best friend to the exam on time. While waiting for Fan Yuan to take the exam, Xiaomi took Roshi to get some nourishment. Seeing that she refused to give up her steamed dumplings, he pretended to be so hungry that his stomach hurt. Xiaomi had no choice but to give up half of her dumplings to Fan Yuan for Roshi's sake and share them with him. After Fan Yuan finished the exam, he went out to thank Roshi for his help. At that moment, Xiaomi met Jae Ming. Xiaomi gave him a bottle of water. She introduced Jae Ming as her childhood friend. He was also a famous top student in middle school. Roshi and Fan Yuan both did not like him very much when they saw him being close to Xiaomi. Jae Ming promised to go to Xiaomi's house to play during the next vacation. After Jae Ming left, the two friends took turns asking Xiaomi about their love rival. Back in class, Roshi praised Xiaomi for always getting high scores in literature. Hearing her boast about her manuscript that was about to be published in a magazine, he immediately asked her to pay him for his good fortune. Xiaomi decided to invite the whole group to hang out. Roshi was disappointed because he thought he would be hanging out with Xiaomi alone. In class, teacher Chao Yun announced that the school had chosen Roshi and Ruolei to act in a promotional film. It suddenly started to rain outside, just like Xiaomi's mood at the moment. Under the pouring rain, Xiaomi remembered what her classmates had said. They all thought that Ruolei was a good match for Roshi. Ruolei was afraid that something would happen to Xiaomi, so she quickly hugged her best friend. Hearing Xiaomi wanted to try the feeling of showering in the rain, Ruolei agreed to get wet with her friend. In the girls' dormitory, Roshi was waiting for Xiaomi. He worriedly put on a coat for Xiaomi but didn't pay any attention to Ruolei. Xiaomi ran to the changing room and then returned the coat to Roshi. The two went somewhere else to talk. Roshi asked Xiaomi if she wasn't happy about the promotional film. To make up for it, he decided to award the Best Actress award to Xiaomi. Roshi had prepared a paper crown for the only female lead in his heart. On the day of filming, the director made Ruolei retake the scene many times because Ruolei's smile was too forced. However, her acting became more and more deadlocked. Xiaomi deliberately made jokes to make Ruolei laugh. The director saw Xiaomi's innocence and asked her to model for the female lead. Xiaomi's smile made Roshi fascinated. The director thought that was the youthful feeling he needed. He let everyone take a break so Ruolei could practice more. Roshi wanted to ask the director for Xiaomi's footage to save and watch again. She hurriedly held him back. This action accidentally broke the beaker. Ruolei deliberately cut her hand to ask Xiaomi to buy a band-aid. Seeing that Roshi was about to run after her, she asked him to stay and practice his lines. Finally, the promotional footage was completed. The classmates all praised the couple's eyes for being very affectionate. Xiaojun thought that Roshi's acting was good, so it looked affectionate. Xiaomi felt suffocated and ran out to get some water. She was so distracted that she burned her hand with hot water. Roshi hurriedly pulled Xiaomi's hand to soak in cold water. Hearing Xiaomi's praise for Roshi's good acting, Roshi explained that a professional actor would not bring the film into reality. For him, the only female lead was Xiaomi. After school, Xiaomi saw a hooligan bullying Ruolei. Xiaomi tried to chase after him, but Ruolei blamed her for meddling in other people's business. After calming down, Ruolei said that he was her old classmate. They had just been joking around, and there had been no bullying. Ruolei walked past the bulletin board. She saw Xiaomi's photo next to Roshi's photo. She was jealous and used a pen to cross out Xiaomi's photo. The next day at school, the whole class guessed that Xiaomi had offended someone. Ruolei remembered Jiang Li in class 7, who had always been at odds with Xiaomi. Xiaomi did not want to make a big deal out of it, so she told her classmates to go back to class. She also did not want to pursue this matter further. Roshi stayed behind and used a pen to cross out her photo to make it a good match for Xiaomi. Before recess, teacher Chao Yun told the students to quickly complete the class assignment form. Xiaomi definitely chose the social science class. Roshi still did not know where to go. Class 1 unexpectedly received a challenge letter from class 2. The the class monitor thought that the enemy was coming to their home, and they had to not only respond but also win beautifully. Roshi asked the writer Xiaomi to write a challenging letter. The two classes would decide the winner in the upcoming class division exam. Just in time, the homeroom teacher saw it and did not allow anyone to leave the scene. After reading the challenge letter, the homeroom teacher asked which hero had written it. The homeroom teacher became even angrier when he saw Xiaomi walking up with a proud expression. Roshi quickly asked the teacher to calm down. Fuan promised to compete in a friendly manner based on the spirit of mutual assistance between the classes. That day, the class division exam began with rare enthusiasm from all Class 1. Xiaomi listened to Roshi's answer. She knew she had not done well on the test. Fuan thought that day's math test had been harder than the usual class test. Xiaomi did not want to implicate the whole class, so she continued to work hard on the following subjects. Fuan and Roshi coincidentally both gave Xiaomi notebooks. Ruolei had also lent her best friend her English key notebook. In return, Xiaomi lent her Chinese literature notebook to her classmates. She came up with the idea of sharing 4 martial arts manuals with her classmates. The whole class thanked Xiaomi for her good deed. Fuan announced that their class's math score had been lower than Class 2's because they had really tried their best and had not skipped any evening self-study. Xiaomi thought their class could learn from them. The whole class asked Fuan to be their teacher. During self-study, Class 1 was determined to kick Class 2 out of the galaxy. At night, Fuan came up with a strategy to increase the speed of doing the test in 30 minutes. The rest of the class discussed and reviewed. After the exam, Roshi carried Xiaomi to see the class results. She celebrated her victory when not only had her class come in first place, but Roshi had also taken Junyi's second place and was only behind Fuan. Seeing that the students in Class 2 were not convinced, Xiaomi affirmed that her class had come in first place because of their own ability. Moreover, everyone acknowledged that Fuan was better than Junyi. Class 1 was happy with the victory in front of the recognition of their opponents. Back in class, teacher Xiaoyun praised the students. She reminded everyone to quickly complete the class assignment form to submit to the class monitor. Although they were a little sad because of the upcoming separation, the whole class still had the group photo. Moreover, everyone could meet again at school. After school, Yuhan wanted to choose the location to take a commemorative photo. However, the school required that it be taken in the main building lobby. Xiaomi came up with the idea that everyone could choose their own clothes. Fuan was hesitant because he was afraid that the homeroom teacher would not allow it. Roshi told his classmates to dress casually and let him take care of the rest. Fuan agreed to negotiate with the teacher. Roshi went home still undecided about which class to choose. To relax, he sat looking at Xiaomi's photos. Just as she posted a photo of her getting her hair dyed in front of her house, he rushed over to join in the fun. Xiaomi woke up surprised when she saw Roshi and her blonde hair. It turned out that he had secretly put a wig on Xiaomi. Roshi knew that Xiaomi wanted to prepare for tomorrow's commemorative photo shoot. However, if she dyed her hair for real, it would be difficult to fool the homeroom teacher. Looking at the hair dye spray, once, Roshi decided to go crazy with Xiaomi so as not to waste their youth. As a result, their fiery hair color made the whole class admire. The class monitor reminded them to quickly dye it again because the homeroom teacher would not let them be. Xiaomi revealed that she was only wearing a wig and that she would take it off after taking the photo. Xiaojun thought that Roshi and Xiaomi had such great courage because of love. Xiaomi knew that the class monitor would choose the natural science class. She felt sorry that she could not be his desk mate. Fuan told Xiaomi that she could come to the abandoned art room to study with him at any time. Roshi came and said that he chose the social science class like Xiaomi. She wondered why Roshi was so good at the natural science class but switched to social science. Fuan felt sad because he was the only one in the science class. Xiaomi made an appointment with everyone to meet at the secret base after school. That way, they would always be in the same class. Each member of class number 1 had a different style. Seeing Zhao Rui wearing a uniform, Xiaomi stuck a gang symbol on him. Everyone competed to put on more stickers, making the bookworm even more special. Rolei transformed into a princess, making the whole class admire. Fuan looked like an elegant scholar from an ancient story. Ruoshi appeared extremely cool with sportswear that matched his fiery hair color. As a result, the whole class lined up to confess to the anger of the homeroom teacher. Suddenly feeling a stomachache, the homeroom teacher rushed to the bathroom. After taking care of it, the teacher came out to scold them again. But before he could finish his sentence, the teacher couldn't take it anymore. It turned out that it was Ruoshi's work. He had secretly put some laxatives in the homeroom teacher's cup of tea. Teacher Xiaoyun allowed the students to take pictures first. Finally, Class 1 was free to record the chaotic moments of their school years. They ran to the rooftop and wished to the sky that they would never be apart. Dayu folded a paper plane and wished to be best friends with Ruolei. Instead of flying high into the sky, the plane landed right at her feet. Ruolei pretended not to have stepped on Dayu's heart. Everyone was so excited that they folded their own planes. In it, Roshi dedicated his wish to Xiaomi. Ruolei wished to be in the same class as Roshi. Fan Yuan hoped that the moment of parting would come a little later. Xiaomi wished that everyone's wishes would come true. The high-flying planes gave the group of young people faith in a bright future. Roshi invited Xiaomi to the secret base. He gave her a diary that he had prepared himself. He compared Xiaomi to a very talented person. He would be her companion everywhere. The memories between them would last forever in the universe. He promised Xiaomi that he would take her to all the places she liked. He would always remember Xiaomi's braised pork. Xiaomi said that Roshi was really great during the soccer match. She would remember all of his appearances. Seeing Xiaomi showing displeasure, Roshi asked for the diary back. Looking at her angrily, Roshi didn't dare to joke anymore. He pretended to be heartbroken when he put in so much effort but was told it was child's play. At the amusement park, Xiaomi wanted to ride the Ferris wheel. Since each compartment only seated 2 people, Ruolei asked Xiaomi to sit and talk with Fan Yuan. Because Fan Yuan looked unhappy, Roshi tricked everyone into looking up at the shooting star and quickly pulled Xiaomi to sit with him. But Roshi blamed Xiaomi for being heartless because she always thought of Ruolei first, then the class president, and finally him. The wheels started to go up, making Xiaomi a little dizzy. Roshi fed her a candy to cheer her up. Roshi confided that he signed up for the social studies department because he wanted to study film. He had always loved performing, but had never thought about a professional career. After meeting Xiaomi, he did not want to give up his dream. Xiaomi believed that Ruoshi would definitely become a good actor. Ruoshi couldn't help but pinch her cheeks when he saw Xiaomi's adorable face. He said that he would participate in a movie during that vacation. Xiaomi had come up with the idea of collecting a lot of Ruoshi's things. When he became famous, she would sell them. Afraid that Xiaomi would be bored on the bus, Ruoshi called her to chat. He hoped that one day he could become the male lead in her novel. At the studio, the director praised Roshi's acting ability. Xiaomi came to cheer him on. She imagined herself as the female lead in Roshi's eyes. A cat ran by and Xiaomi's dream was dashed. Roshi saw Xiaomi being chased by a cat, so he asked the director for a break. Xiaomi met Roshi and told him that the cat kept following her. He realized that this was the assistant director's cat. It was not fierce at all. Hearing this, Xiaomi dared to pet the kitten. The assistant director came to carry the pet away. Roshi confided that he had been acting with a stranger, so he was a bit unfamiliar. Xiaomi told him to prepare himself mentally, no matter who the other person was. She secretly folded a small paper heart to motivate Roshi. Sure enough, Xiaomi's small gift helped him gain more confidence in acting. On this side, Ruolei posted a photo of her vacation in Hainan. She was happy to be admired by her friends. However, it had all been an illusion. Xiaomi admired Ruolei's photo very much. She accidentally saw Ruolei taking out the trash. Roshi guessed that Ruolei had just flown a rocket back from Hainan. Xiaomi guessed that Ruolei had something difficult to say. It turned out that Ruolei's family had been very chaotic. Her brother had been addicted to games, and her father had drunk all day long. Her brother even took all of her little savings, but her father was biased and only knew how to beat and scold Ruolei. Early in the morning, Xiaomi received a text message from Roshi. He brought breakfast to pick her up and take her back to school. Xiaomi specially tied her hair into 2 buns to wish for good luck in the new school year. Fan Yuan and Ruolei couldn't help but feel sad when they saw Xiaomi happily sitting behind Roshi's bike. When they met their friends again, Ruolei gave each of them some seashells she had brought back from Hainan. Roshi didn't seem excited. Ruolei was jealous when she saw Xiaomi wearing new clothes all over her body. After the classes were divided, Fan Yuan and Zhao Rui were still in class number 1. The students who registered for the social studies department were all in the same class. Because Roshi's results were in the top 10, he was able to choose a seat next to Xiaomi. Teacher Qiao Yun, in charge of class number 6, immediately appointed Ruoshi as class monitor. However, Roshi was busy teasing Xiaomi and didn't hear what the teacher said. He was immediately reprimanded by her. He promised to set an example for his classmates from now on. Seeing that Xiaomi had not yet copied her notes, Roshi lent her his notebook so she wouldn't have to look up at the board. Hearing this, Ruolei went out to borrow Roshi's notebook. Just in time, Fan Yuan came over to give Xiaomi a notebook with keynotes. Ruolei took the opportunity to pull Roshi to teach her. In class, teacher Qiao Yun announced that the school would hold a cultural exchange to welcome the delegation's visit to the school. She assigned Ruolei Ruolei to assist Teacher Yi in arranging a dance performance for the whole class. In the office, Teacher Yi assigned Ruolei to arrange the dance pairings for Class 6 and Class 1. Sure enough, Ruolei did not miss the opportunity to dance with Roshi. She also paired Xiaomi with Fuan. However, Roshi's eyes were always on Xiaomi. The dance practice began. While changing dance partners, Roshi pulled Xiaomi into his arms. His dance was full of life because of that. When it was time to change dance partners, Roshi still did not let Xiaomi out of his arms. Xiaomi reminded that Ruolei was Roshi's dance partner, but Roshi did not want to dance with Ruolei. When it was time to change dance partners, Xiaomi deliberately stepped on Roshi's foot to return to Fuan. Unexpectedly, Yuhan was faster. Seeing this, Roshi quickly pulled Xiaomi back. This forced Ruolei to pair with Zhao Rui. She deliberately tripped and asked the teacher to let her practice again from the beginning. Roshi ignored her and pulled Xiaomi to dance with her. After school, Xiaomi saw that Ruolei was feeling upset. She said that Ruoshi had recently disliked her and only wanted to dance with Xiaomi. Ruolei asked Xiaomi to ask Roshi to go out to practice dancing with her. Xiaomi went to see Roshi. She stammered and asked him to go to the rooftop to practice dancing with her. Roshi found Ruolei lurking behind the door. He guessed her intention. He deliberately said loudly that he was busy playing tennis with Xiaojun. Roshi saw Ruolei leave. He asked Xiaomi not to always listen to other people's words. Just in time, Xiaomi received good news but did not want to share it with Roshi. Meeting Fuan, she boasted that she had just received her royalties. Roshi heard it and told Xiaomi to quickly treat her friends. Seeing Roshi continue to tease her, Xiaomi called Fuan back to class. After a month, she still wasn't used to being assigned to a different class than Fuan. At the dormitory, Xiaoyu discovered that someone had stolen her moisturizer. Knowing that Ruolei often stayed at school during the holidays, Xiaoyu went to ask her and coincidentally met her classmates from Class 7. Zhangli revealed that Xiaomi liked to steal other people's things when she was in middle school. However, Xiaoyu still trusted Xiaomi. After gym class, Jiarong returned to her classroom and discovered that the class fund was missing. She suspected that Xiaomi had stolen it because she had heard that Xiaomi had a lot of money on her. Moreover, the whole dormitory rumored that Xiaomi had secretly used Xiaoyu's moisturizer. Other classmates also heard that Xiaomi had a habit of stealing other people's things since middle school. Xiaomi reminded her classmates not to rush to blame her if they didn't see it with their own eyes. She said that she had just received royalties from the magazine. There was a money transfer message from the editor on her phone. She affirmed that she had never taken other people's things before or now. Ruolei saw that Roshi was about to ask the teacher to check the camera, so she quickly stopped Roshi. She thought that making a big deal out of it would not be beneficial to Xiaomi. Just then, Miss Xiaoyun came in and confirmed that Xiaomi received royalties from the magazine. Jiarong apologized for blaming Xiaomi. During recess, Roshi took Xiaomi to the secret base. He secretly drew a picture to help improve her mood. Roshi analyzed that besides himself and Fuan, only Ruolei knew that Xiaomi received royalties. Ruolei heard and intentionally interrupted their conversation. Fuan worriedly ran over to comfort Xiaomi. Roshi thought that even if Xiaomi didn't care, there would still be rumors, so he was determined to catch the real culprit. Roshi distracted the surveillance staff to secretly review the camera footage from the day the money was stolen. After Jiarong left the classroom, only Ruolei entered the classroom. On this side, Ruolei secretly left the money in Jiarong's desk drawer. Roshi met Ruolei. He said that he had reviewed the camera footage and only saw Ruolei enter the classroom after Jiarong. But then the camera was strangely broken. Ruolei breathed a sigh of relief. She said that Jiarong had found the class fund. Roshi wondered if Ruolei had told Jiarong that Xiaomi had a lot of money. Xiaomi didn't want to continue making things difficult for her best friend. When she arrived at the cafeteria, Ruolei apologized to Xiaomi. Because she was happy for Xiaomi, she told Jiarong that Xiaomi had a lot of money. Xiaomi knew that Ruolei didn't mean it. She invited her best friend to sing to celebrate the royalties. Xiaomi rented a karaoke room that happened to be Dayu's family's restaurant. Xiaomi's passion made Dayu tremble. After a mashup of 5 consecutive songs, Roshi asked Xiaomi to take a break so he could sing for her. Roshi's sweet voice made Xiaomi sway non-stop. His love song seemed to be only for Xiaomi, but when Ruolei sang, no one paid attention except for Dayu, who had always been infatuated with her. To warm up the atmosphere, Roshi picked a song for everyone to sing together. The two of them walked around the soccer field. Roshi reminded that the day after tomorrow was New Year's Eve, which also happened to be the day he was born. He hoped to receive a greeting card from Xiaomi. Xiaomi came across the slide. She ran to play like a child. Her innocence was deeply imprinted planted in Roshi's mind, she suddenly sat down, making him very worried. It turned out that Xiaomi slid down the stairs too much and tore her pants. Roshi braved the cold and gave her jacket to Xiaomi. He pulled her into the women's restroom to change pants for Xiaomi. Wearing short and torn pants, Roshi was confident that she could create a new fashion trend among young people. In the end, they still couldn't escape the questioning of the homeroom teacher. Roshi insisted that she wasn't in love early because Xiaomi was under a lot of pressure to study. She ran to the stadium. He was worried about his classmates, so he followed her. Ruolei held her stomach and ran out to ask the teacher to let her classmate take her to the infirmary. The doctor diagnosed that Ruolei was allergic to soy milk and had gastritis. It turned out that she had intentionally caused an allergy to save Xiaomi and Roshi didn't want to owe Ruolei a favor, so she brought porridge to visit. He also helped her sweep the schoolyard. Xiaomi saw him from afar and left first. Hearing the gossip of the people around, Roshi explained that he was helping Ruolei because she had helped him out. Ruolei asked Roshi to exchange gifts on New Year's Eve so that they would no longer owe each other anything. On the last day of the school year, Roshi came to school very early to be the first person to give Xiaomi a card. Xiaojun was curious, so he borrowed the card to take a look. Unexpectedly, he clumsily dropped it just as Xiaori ran by. Xiaojun quickly ran to buy a replacement for Ruoshi. Back in class, Ruoshi hid all the invitations his classmates gave him and Xiaomi. He wanted to be the first to give her a card. Fanyuan didn't see Xiaomi, so he left the card on her desk. The result didn't escape Roshi's eyes. Roshi was afraid that Xiaojun wouldn't come back in time, so he made a card for Xiaomi himself. While he was getting water, Xiaomi came over. She was a little disappointed when there wasn't even a single card on the table. Fanyuan went in and asked Xiaomi if she had received her card. She heard "Da, you say that Ruoshi had received the card for her." Xiaomi immediately ran to find him. Xiaomi met Roshi and questioned why he had taken her card. Roshi explained that he had only temporarily collected it to be the first to give her a New Year's card, but unfortunately, his card was soiled by Xiaojun. He reminded Xiaomi that she hadn't given him a card yet. Roshi heard her say that she had left the card on the table since last night. He quickly ran back to find Xiaomi's gift. In return, he gave her a greeting card he made himself. In return, Roshi folded hundreds of stars for Xiaomi. He remembered that in her dream, she had said she wanted to see a meteor shower once. At the New Year's Eve concert, Roshi represented Class 6 in singing and playing the guitar. He was like a prince who slowly crept into Xiaomi's mind. Back at the secret base, the group held a birthday party for Roshi. To warm up the atmosphere, Xiaojun organized a truth or dare game. He asked Roshi whose greeting card she liked the most. Roshi did not answer, but accepted the risk. He had to complete the Rubik's Cube within 30 seconds. If he lost, he would have to run naked across the schoolyard. However, Roshi only needed 10 seconds to complete the challenge. Today, Roshi met Xiaomi alone. He asked for a birthday present. She pretended to only give him a greeting card, but was hiding the gift behind her back. Just when Ruolei was giving Roshi a birthday present, he didn't want to accept it when he saw her giving him a scarf. Ruolei reminded him that he had agreed to accept her gift. Roshi had no choice but to thank Ruolei, but he had forgotten to prepare a gift for her. Seeing Xiaomi go somewhere else, Roshi wanted to chase after Xiaomi but was stopped by his friends to give him a birthday present. While Ruolei was chatting with Xiaomi, Ruolei was worried that Ruoshi wouldn't like the scarf she gave him. She admitted that she had liked him since they first met. Xiaomi made an excuse that she was a little dizzy, so she went back to the dormitory first. She wanted to throw away the gift but couldn't bear to. At this time, Xiaomi met Fanyuan. She couldn't hold back her tears. Knowing that she was sad because of someone else, he had no choice but to put the gift in his pocket. On this side, Ruolei told Roshi that Xiaomi was with Fanyuan. Roshi wondered if she deliberately gave him the scarf in front of Xiaomi. He accepted the gift and also asked Xiaojun to give Ruolei a pen in return. He hoped she wouldn't take advantage of Xiaomi's kindness because she wasn't stupid. Xiaomi just didn't want to think badly of Ruolei. In the pouring rain, Xiaomi kept crying, while Fanyuan patiently covered her with his shirt. Xiaomi saw Roshi and ran away. Roshi quietly followed. When they returned to the girls' dormitory, Fanyuan pulled Roshi back to change clothes after seeing Xiaomi safely go to her room. Back in the room, Roshi was feverish but still worried about Xiaomi. He had kept her card with him all the time. During computer class, Roshi saw the empty seat next to Xiaomi, so he quickly sat down. He wanted to explain about the gift, but she didn't want to listen. She moved to sit next to Jiarong. Roshi secretly sent a text message to apologize to Xiaomi, but she turned off the computer and opened her book to study. At the secret base, Xiaomi was angry on the board. Roshi stopped her. Roshi looked at Xiaomi's tears. He took all the blame on himself. herself. Xiaomi knew it wasn't Roshi's fault, but she couldn't control herself. She also didn't know how to face Roshi. Roshi coaxed Xiaomi to eat grilled skewers. He kept making jokes to make her laugh. He told Xiaomi that he exchanged gifts with Roshi because she had helped them escape from the homeroom teacher. But the only gift he wanted to receive was from Xiaomi. Hearing that Xiaomi had prepared a gift for him, Roshi happily took water instead of wine. He toasted everyone around him a glass. He kept asking her to reveal the gift she was giving him. Back at the dormitory gate, Roshi shared that he was going to take the entrance exam to Beijing Film Academy. He had registered for a training class during winter break. If Xiaomi was free, she could come see him perform. Moreover, he also hoped that Xiaomi would take the entrance exam to a university in Beijing. She was afraid that her current results would not allow it. Roshi agreed to be Xiaomi's free tutor. He believed that a year was enough time for her to try hard. The next day in class, Xiaomi saw a wooden crane with her name engraved on it and a love letter from Fan Yuan. Just as Fan Yuan was reading a love poem on the school loudspeaker, Xiaomi tried to explain, but her friends did not believe her. Fan Yuan had just entered to find Xiaomi when the teacher asked her to go to the office. Roshi pretended to hit Xiao Jun to save the two friends. As a result, the three of them had to stand under the flag for punishment. Fan Yuan apologized for getting Xiaomi involved. She did not blame him because she knew someone wanted to harm her. She questioned Roshi why he hit Xiao Jun and suffered the punishment in vain. Roshi was afraid that the teacher would scold his two most important friends. He was willing to share the good fortune and the bad fortune. Xiaomi's father came to take his daughter home. Roshi and Fan Yuan ran after her and asked her uncle not to act rashly. Fan Yuan took all the blame. Xiaomi's mother explained that she was only cleaning the house and not hitting her daughter. Afraid that Xiaomi's father would hate them, Roshi and Fan Yuan both stayed to clean with the family. Xiaomi heard that Roshi was not in the dormitory. Xiaomi's mother also wanted her daughter to go home. She was afraid that the food at school was not good, so her daughter lost weight since entering school. Roshi promised that if Xiaomi went home instead of staying in the dormitory, he would take her home every day. Fan Yuan saw that Roshi was in the aunt's good graces. He fell into deep thought. The next day, Rolei's older brother, Jinlong, came to find his sister and bumped into Xiao Jun right outside the door. He introduced himself as Rolei's older brother and stole Xiao Jun's wallet. Rolei found out that her brother had robbed the wallet and immediately blocked him way to get it back. Fan Yuan didn't understand what was going on and thought she was being bullied, so she tried her best to protect her. When Fan Yuan heard Roshi say to catch the thief, he quickly grabbed him, but Jinlong pushed Fan Yuan aside and made his escape. Rolei asked Fan Yuan to let this matter go because he had returned the wallet. Roshi heard Xiao Jun say that the robber was Rolei's brother. She insisted that she didn't have such a brother. Back in class, her classmates knew that they had misunderstood Xiaomi about her early love. Rolei claimed that the wooden crane was hers. Fan Yuan cared about her, so he gave it to her. Maybe someone else had played a dirty trick and carved Xiaomi's name. Rolei thought to herself that if she didn't have Roshi, she had to fight for herself. Yuhan heard the story and immediately came to expose Rolei. She advised Xiaomi to quickly see Rolei's true face. She deliberately gave Roshi a scarf in front of Xiaomi because she wasn't being noticed. Rolei immediately targeted Fan Yuan. Rolei pretended to be weak and agreed to give the wooden statue back to Yuhan. Listening to her friends, Rolei smiled in victory. Xiaomi, standing behind, accidentally saw Rolei's true expression. Rolei knew that he could not continue to pretend in front of Xiaomi, so she decided to reveal her true intentions. She reminded Xiaomi not to think that the whole world revolved around her. Xiaomi questioned whether Rolei had ever considered her a friend. Xiaomi heard Rolei blame her for stealing Roshi. Xiaomi also spoke frankly. She knew about the bad things Rolei had done. She asked Rolei not to continue taking advantage of Fan Yuan's kindness. Back in class, Rolei packed up her books and transferred to class 1. Seeing Fan Yuan, she pretended to be weak to attract his attention. Yuhan gently pulled Rolei, but she deliberately hit her back against the railing. Fan Yuan was gullible, so he gently helped Rolei back to class. In preparation for the school's 50th anniversary, Class 1 and Class 6 were chosen to sing the national anthem together. Roshi played the piano, while Rolei and Fan Yuan were the main singers. Hearing her classmates praise Rolei as a good match for Fan Yuan, Yuhan asked the teacher to change the main singer. She was not satisfied that her class did not have a main singer. The coach said that he chose based on many factors to ensure the most perfect performance. In the tense atmosphere, Roshi gave her classmates a symphony to help the teacher calm down. Back in class, Rolei saw her junior high school report card posted on the board. She went to the swimming pool to ask Yuhan what happened. When Rolei saw Fan Yuan, she pretended to be pushed into the water by Yuhan. Fan Yuan quickly jumped in to save his classmate. Yuhan was scolded by him, feeling indignant and speechless. Who would have thought that Daiyu had witnessed Ruolei's entire drama? He was disappointed that his goddess was so evil. On the way back, Xiaomi was so absorbed in thinking about Ruolei that she didn't pay attention to the road. Roshi reminded her not to be in a wheelchair because of a worthless person. To be safe, he made her follow him. Xiaomi saw that he treated her like a pet and fought back against Roshi's shadow. On Xiaomi's birthday, Roshi stayed up late waiting for the moment to be the first person to send her wishes. He promised to give Xiaomi a surprise after school tomorrow. Hearing the sound of breaking, Roshi rushed out. It turned out that his mother suddenly felt upset and broke the cup. Roshi wanted to call his father, but his mother didn't want to bother her husband. At the school gate, Xiaomi blamed Roshi for suddenly hanging up the phone, making her wait until her eyes were dark. He agreed to let her take a bite to regain her spirits. After school, Ruolei saw Fan Yuan preparing a birthday present for Xiaomi. While Fan Yuan was in the teacher's room, she curiously opened it to see. Seeing Fan Yuan's thoughtfulness towards Xiaomi, she was jealous and hid the gift in her bag. Back in class, Fan Yuan couldn't find his gift because she had already made an appointment with Xiaomi to go to the self-study room. Fan Yuan had no choice but to buy her a box of chocolate. On this side, Xiaomi waited for Fan Yuan for a long time but didn't see him, so she texted him to go home first. She could never see the intentions in his heart. Roshi took Xiaomi to the cinema. It turned out that he had made a video that collected all of Xiaomi's moments and appearances. Xiaomi listened to the backing track that he also composed and recorded. She gave Roshi a passing grade, which made her angry. Xiaomi frantically apologized to him. Roshi suddenly gave her popcorn and a unique treasure in the world. It was a cup of milk tea that he personally made. Roshi approached Xiaomi and reminded her to give him a perfect score for his thoughtfulness. On the way back, Ruolei met her brother, who came to ask for money. He grabbed her hair and broke Fan Yuan's gift. Jinlong rummaged through his sister's school bag and took all of Ruolei's little money. He threatened that if she continued to disobey, he would not stop at just posting her report card on the board. Only now did Ruolei realize that she had wrongly blamed Yuhan. Seeing Xiaomi crying over a romantic movie, Roshi praised her for being cute. Xiaomi wished that her work could also be adapted to the big screen. Roshi suggested that Xiaomi study screenwriting. It just so happened that she could go to the same university as him. He also thought about working with her to become a famous couple in the film industry. Hearing Xiaomi's agreement, he immediately posted their wishes on the wish wall. The next day at school, Roshi gave Xiaomi a lot of film materials. While driving her to school, he reminded Xiaomi to work hard for their relationship. In class, Xiaomi heard her classmates gossiping that Ruolei was in league with a hooligan. She also specialized in stealing other people's things. Zhang also just discovered that someone had secretly swiped his spending card on the weekends. Coincidentally, only Ruolei stayed during the holidays. Xiaomi secretly remembered seeing Ruolei holding Xiaoyu's bottle of skin cream. In class 1, everyone thought that Ruolei was the thief. They suspected that she had taken Fan Yuan's things. Ruolei blamed her classmates for framing her. A classmate went in and reported that he had seen Ruolei stuff the wishing bottle into her school bag with his own eyes. Diyu stood outside and wanted to clear Yuhan's name. After school, Xiaomi rushed to Ruolei's house. She called Ruolei and heard a loud scream, so she was very worried. At home, Ruolei blamed her parents for spoiling her older brother. Her father ignored her and rushed in to beat his daughter. Xiaomi ran in to save Ruolei. Instead of being grateful, she did not need Ruolei's pity. Roshi was angry that Xiaomi did not care about the danger to save Ruolei. Xiaomi only got Ruolei's blame in return. Ruolei heard Roshi say that she had known her family background for a long time. She now understood why Xiaomi often dragged her out to eat, but she didn't need anyone's fake sympathy. Xiaomi wondered who was the fake one. She regretted being nice to someone who didn't deserve it. Ruolei thought that she came from a poor background, so she wasn't loved by everyone like Xiaomi. Fan Yuan thought that people liked to hang out with Xiaomi not because of her background, but because of Xiaomi's straightforwardness and honesty. We can't choose our background, but we can choose how to live. Fan Yuan's warmth helped Ruolei calm down. Meeting on the stairs, Xiaomi heard her classmates belittle Ruolei. She couldn't stand it and spoke up to defend her. Ruolei apologized to Xiaomi for her mistakes. Xiaomi promised to always protect Ruolei. During recess, Xiaomi told her that teacher Chao Yun had given her the responsibility of writing a script for the school anniversary celebration. Ruolei came up with the idea of the two classes performing a play together so she would have more time with Xiaomi. Roshi felt uncomfortable that Xiaomi was so close to Ruolei. When they arrived at the secret base, face, Roshi secretly watched Xiaomi concentrating on writing the script. Seeing that she was stuck for ideas, he played a piece of music for Xiaomi. Sure enough, Xiaomi's radiant image made her feel overwhelmed. Roshi saw Xiaomi feeling pressured, preparing for the play. He organized a picnic. Roshi watched Xiaomi take pictures with Role. He also wanted to take pictures. This morning, Yuan discovered an unlocked boat. The group took the opportunity to go boating for free on the lake. Looking at Xiaomi in the sunlight, Roshi splashed water on her to cool her down. Role was afraid that the water would splash on Yuan, so she quickly shielded him. The four friends played around on the lake. As a result, they were scolded by the security guard. Roshi asked to pick up trash to reflect on themselves. While picking up trash, Roshi saw a heart-shaped leaf. He gave it to Xiaomi to cheer her up in the upcoming play. Xiaomi promised to create a work that would amaze everyone. Today, Xiaomi was about to invite everyone to lunch when Roshi received a call from his mother. Because his mother was not well, he asked for permission to go home early. The next day, Xiaomi was worried when Roshi was absent from school. She secretly texted him but was caught by teacher Yi. The teacher took her phone and punished Xiaomi by kicking her out of class. She had a bad feeling, so she ran to call Roshi regardless. However, he did not answer. Xiaomi brought her friends to her house to find Roshi. Seeing anyone open the door made her restless. Xiaomi heard Roshi's voice. She blamed him for not answering his phone and staying home from school. Roshi apologized for not being able to charge his phone because he was in the hospital taking care of his mother. At school, teacher Wang announced that the German university had accepted Fan Yuan's application. Seeing his students' hesitation, the teacher gave Fan Yuan more time to think. During the rehearsal, Xiaomi explained the content of the script. The story revolved around rescuing the princess, but the main character was not a prince but a female squire. On the way to carry out the mission, the female squire befriended a swordsman. All of her classmates were interested in Xiaomi's script. Due to limited characters, everyone had to draw lots for their roles. Whoever did not act would do the logistics task. Seeing that Ruolei was unhappy with playing the role of a maid, Xiaomi changed her role as a female knight. Fan Yuan coincidentally played the role of a swordsman. Jiarong wanted to change roles because she did not want to play friends with the person who had stolen her things. Ruolei thought that Jiarong's temperament was not suitable for playing a princess. Fan Yuan reminded everyone not to act emotionally because there was not much practice time. Roshi called for solidarity. Together, they demonstrated to the whole school what a strong team was. Seeing Roshi tired, Xiaomi gave him a few notes. She agreed to give him an unconditional benefit. Roshi suddenly hugged Xiaomi, knowing that he could not go beyond his limits. He borrowed her hand. He said, "Little sparkling sun, can you lend me your endless energy?" Xiaomi entered the role, speeding up Roshi's charging mode. He promised to pay back the little sun 10 times when his mother was discharged from the hospital. Xiaomi asked for the privilege of listening to Xiaomi play and sing. He dedicated the song Little Star to her because Xiaomi was the light in Roshi's heart. The school anniversary finally arrived. The performance was about to begin, but Ruolei had not arrived yet. The coach had no choice but to let Jiarong sing the lead song. When it came to the drama performance, Xiaomi still had not been able to contact Ruolei. Roshi asked Xiaomi to play the female lead because she was the only one who knew the script. Xiaomi had no choice but to ask Ximin to narrate so she could play the female knight. While Xiaomi was practicing swordplay with Fan Yuan, Ruoshi continued to call Ruolei. It turned out that she was locked in her room by her brother. Seeing Xiaomi nervous, Roshi taught her how to calm down, which was to treat all the audience as pigs. The show began, and Ximin led the story. Hearing that the female knight wanted to join the martial arts world, the princess was afraid that no one would eat hot pot with her. The female knight promised to return after becoming the #1 martial arts world. In the martial arts world, the female knight got to know the swordsman. In the palace, the princess was kidnapped by a coriander-loving assassin. The nanny ordered 2 guards to immediately search for the princess. If they failed, they would be punished by not drinking milk for a year. In a difficult situation, the female knight and the swordsman appeared to rescue the princess. The coriander assassin used a magic stone to manipulate the minds of the 2 guards. Not succumbing to evil, the female knight finally won. The 2 classes' outstanding performances made the entire audience burst into laughter. Inside, Xiaomi continued to call Ruolei. At this moment, her brother contacted Roshi. Knowing that Ruolei was in trouble, Xiaomi rushed to rescue her best friend. Jinlong only opened the door to release his sister after demanding money. Xiaomi heard that he wanted to fight, so she immediately called her teammates. "Do you played the role of the boss?" and brought his juniors to settle the score with the arrogant guy. Seeing his juniors act rashly, "Duh, you told them to back off." He just gently asked Jinlong's gang name, which made him look at them with different eyes. Dayu now asked his juniors to teach Jinlong a lesson. He was scared and quickly released his sister. Dayu warned that if Jinlong dared to touch Ruolei again, he would ask for Jinlong's arm. Only after chasing Jinlong away did the group breathe a sigh of relief. Dayu had to drink a sip of milk to calm down. Ruolei apologized for not being on time for the show. Everyone thought that Ruolei was not at fault. Xiao Yu felt guilty for judging Ruolei without knowing the situation. Jiaorong also stopped blaming Ruolei. The group applauded for today's excellent performance. Ruolei suddenly felt dizzy and fainted into Fan Yuan's arms. When she woke up, Ruolei apologized to everyone again for the wrong things she had done. Hearing her question about the show, Xiao Yu told her that Xiaomi played a very good female knight. Ruolei felt disappointed after hearing that. Fan Yuan reminded everyone to go home and review their lessons. They decided to go to the secret base to study together. Roshi apologized that he was a bit busy and couldn't go with everyone. Fan Yuan met with Roshi privately because he heard that Roshi's father's company had problems and was planning to sell it to someone else. Roshi asked Fan Yuan not to tell Xiaomi. He didn't want to affect her studies because his father was busy with work. Roshi had to face everything by himself. He went online to look up every clause in the house sale contract. That evening, his father came home drunk. He told his son not to worry too much because he would take care of everything. He believed that Roshi's mother's health would gradually improve. Seeing his father sitting there crying, Roshi couldn't hold back her tears. 2 days had passed, and Xiaomi still couldn't contact Roshi. He suddenly called her back and asked her to open the curtains. Roshi still smiled and greeted Xiaomi. Outside the park, Roshi apologized for worrying Xiaomi. She wondered what had happened to his family. Roshi ignored it. He asked Xiaomi to look up at the moon so he could admire her a little more. Xiaomi wanted to make a wish to the moon with Roshi. She left her wish there and waited for him to get it back when it came true. She told Roshi that they should take the film school entrance exam together. Roshi was moved and had a glimmer of hope in this difficult life. He returned to the almost empty house. Roshi placed a faint hope in his lucky star. He repeated a wish that he wanted to take the film school entrance exam with Xiaomi. The next day, the school held a cheering activity for the 12th graders. Their battlefield today would be the battlefield of the 11th graders next year. Everyone carried their efforts to move forward towards the university door. In front of the classroom, Fan Yuan gave Xiaomi a notebook with the math highlights from the last 2 years of high school. He also gave each of them a box of chocolates. He told them to eat one when they were in a bad mood. Arriving at the secret base, Roshi congratulated Xiaomi on being ranked 3rd in the class on the recent exam. She just needed to work a little harder to push Jiaorong's name to be next to Roshi. Fan Yuan ran to report that Xiaomi was ranked 19th in the entire grade. Roshi promised not to call Xiaomi a stupid pig from now on. In contrast to Xiaomi, Ruolei's grades were getting worse. Fan Yuan thought her problem was in physics and chemistry. He would help her more during the summer vacation. Roshi decided to call his friends to watch the sunrise to relieve the pressure after the exam. Fan Yuan was afraid that Xiaomi would be cold, so he intended to lend her his jacket, but he was still one step slower than Ruoshi. Seeing this, Ruolei deliberately put the jacket in her bag. Roshi signaled for Xiaomi to not give up her coat. Fan Yuan gave it to Ruolei. On the horizon, the sun finally appeared. Xiaomi was determined to become a great screenwriter. Roshi wanted to walk beside Xiaomi and become a famous actress. Fan Yuan still liked math. Ruolei just wanted to get into a good university. Xiao Jun wanted to be a big boss. Xiao Yu liked to travel around the world. Zhao Rui wanted a peaceful life. Dayu would fall in love in college. Xiaomi chatted with Fan Yuan. She thought about the future 10 years from now. She guessed that Ruoshi would often join the film crew, while she would stay home without bathing for half a month to focus on writing the script. After Fan Yuan left the lab, she would read the announcement that her work had won a grand prize. They would eat hot pot together and sing until morning. Roshi ran over to make a 3-person promise. In addition, he also wanted to make a 10-year promise with Shahia alone. He approached and whispered in her ear. They agreed that if they didn't meet again in 10 years, they wouldn't return. Fan Yuan sent Xiaomi to her front door. He suddenly hugged her. He said that he had to travel with his parents during the summer vacation, so he couldn't see everyone. When Xiaomi came home, Roshi asked Fan Yuan directly why he didn't tell her the truth about going to Germany. Fan Yuan told Roshi that he had always liked Xiaomi. He knew that in her eyes, there was only Roshi. He went to Germany earlier because his father secretly sent the results of the math Olympiad to the university there. He didn't tell them because he was afraid that Ruoshi and Xiaomi would be sad. He didn't have the courage to face her, so he asked Roshi to coax her after he left. Back at school, Xiaomi couldn't contact Roshi. On this side, Ruolei heard that Fan Yuan had gone to study abroad and came to find Xiaomi. Role questioned Xiaomi about why she didn't tell Role that Fan Yuan had gone to Germany. Xiaomi didn't know, but Role thought she was pretending to be stupid. Yuhan thought that if Role didn't stick with Xiaomi, she wouldn't dream of getting close to Fan Yuan. Xiaomi saw that Role was losing control, so she quickly stopped her. Unexpectedly, she even pushed Xiaomi away. Yuhan begged Xiaomi to wake up because Role had never considered her a friend. That's why Role didn't care about Xiaomi's feelings. Xiaomi went to find Roshi and found the house empty. There was only a cardboard box containing Roshi's basketball trophy and family photo. She realized how miserable he had been during this time. She said, "Where is Roshi? Don't leave me behind." After school, Xiaojun asked Xiaomi about Roshi's condition. She didn't know how to answer, so she just looked at his desk and cried. Yuhan came and gave Xiaomi the room number of Roshi's mother. Xiaomi thanked Yuhan and quickly went to the hospital. Just then, she heard the doctor tell Roshi to prepare himself mentally because his mother's health was not very optimistic. He turned around and saw Xiaomi. Roshi couldn't hold back her tears. Xiaomi told him not to try to carry the burden alone. Knowing that she had just finished school, he told Xiaomi to go home and review her lessons. Hearing mother calling, Roshi quickly wiped his tears and went to take care of his mother. To reassure mother, Roshi said that the doctor was about to find a heart that was compatible with her physical condition. She knew she was hopeless and was only worried about her son. Xiaomi went in to testify for Roshi. She thought that he looked very young on the outside but was very trustworthy at important times. In class, Roshi was also known as an on warrior. Outside, Roshi thanked Xiaomi for lying for him. She told him to repay her by taking good care of himself and not losing contact with her. When she saw his empty house, she was afraid that she would not see Roshi again. Apologized to Xiaomi. Xiaomi urged Roshi to return to his mother. She promised to return home safely by herself. At the hospital, Mr. Zhang said that a friend had contacted Shanghai Hospital. He said that he could find a heart that matched Roshi's mother. After thinking it over, he wanted to take his wife there. He told his son to stay and focus on his studies. Roshi did not agree. He wanted to follow him to take care of his mother. At the most difficult time, he could not leave his family. The next day, Roshi stood on the wooden bridge waiting for Xiaomi. Seeing her run over in a panic, he quickly wiped Xiaomi's sweat. She gave him all her savings. Although it was not much, it could help Roshi a little. To thank Xiaomi, Roshi took her out for some milk tea. The boss wondered if this was Roshi's special friend. It turned out that Roshi had followed the boss around to learn how to make milk tea for Xiaomi. After tasting the special milk tea, Xiaomi gave Roshi the highest score. While Xiaomi went to buy stinky tofu, Roshi secretly returned her bank card. The two of them ate stinky tofu together. Roshi gently wiped Xiaomi's mouth. She said that she had finished her homework and asked her parents for permission to go out. Roshi wanted to take Xiaomi to a place. It was the inspirational wall. He said that from the first moment he knew about this place, he wanted to come here with Xiaomi. After that, they asked a passerby to take a souvenir photo. In the photo there was a picture of Roshi and Xiaomi with a big heart. Xiaomi hoped to come here with Roshi every year to take a photo. When they got to the front door, Roshi pulled Xiaomi to walk slowly to be with her a little longer. Xiaomi felt that today was like a beautiful dream. She was afraid that she would wake up after going upstairs. Xiaomi suddenly held Roshi's hand to walk around for a while longer. After finishing her homework, Xiaomi discovered the bank card in her bag. She called Roshi, but he didn't have the courage to answer. Roshi texted Xiaomi that he and his father would take their mother to Shanghai for treatment. When his mother recovered, he would definitely come back to find Xiaomi. He would not forget their promise. But because he had to wait for the ambulance, Mr. Zhang took his wife later. Roshi had to go to Shanghai to take care of the paperwork for his mother first. As soon as he got in the car, Xiaomi ran over. In the pouring rain, Xiaomi kept running after Roshi. When she collapsed, she could only call his name in vain. But in 12th grade, teacher Chao Yun required students to hand in their phones before every class. Xiaomi sent dozens of messages to Roshi but received no reply. She threw herself into studying to get into Beijing University, because only then would she have a chance to see Roshi again. But every day she couldn't help but miss his smile. Xiao Yu gave Fan Yuan's letter to Xiaomi. He apologized for not having the courage to say goodbye. He had heard about Roshi's family and would try to find his address. He told Xiaomi that if she had any difficulties in studying, she could send him a message, or if she wanted to confide, she could send him a letter. 100 days before the college entrance exam, the 12th graders of First High School took an oath. 12 years of hard work and study passed in the blink of an eye. We swear in the name of youth. From now on, we will seize every second to cherish their time. We use sweat and will to overcome difficulties, not to disappoint the expectations of the school and our parents. They were determined to strive for 100 days to get their names on the honor roll. The college entrance exam began. Xiaomi carried Ruoshi's lucky charm with her. She hoped to enter the university gate and meet him again. 20 days after the exam, Xiaomi's family anxiously awaited the results. The whole family was overwhelmed when Xiaomi scored a whopping 608 points, enough to get into the film academy. Her parents quickly told their relatives the good news, but Xiaomi only thought about Ruoshi. She remembered the moonlit vows they had made that day. On the day of her graduation, Xiaomi felt someone was looking at her. She thought she was hallucinating, so she continued to have fun with her friends and took a graduation certificate photo. Xiaomi went to the place she had promised to meet for 10 years. Xiaomi called Roshi's name. She questioned whether he had really disappeared into her world. Roshi suddenly returned and hugged Xiaomi tightly. He placed a loving kiss on her forehead. He promised not to go anywhere else. However, that beautiful vision was just a dream. In 2025, Xiaomi was now a screenwriter. She went to review the cast list for her new movie. Xiaomi heard that there was someone with the same name as the male lead, Roshi. She immediately avoided watching. The manager named Susu wondered if the male lead this time was the screenwriter's first love. Xiaomi left the casting to Susu. She wanted to go back to her hometown to complete the script. When his daughter returned, Mr. Xia urged Xiaomi to think about love. Seeing her father preparing for a blind date, Xiaomi hurriedly ran back to her room. While she was sorting her clothes, she accidentally dropped the wish-granting star bottle under the bed. Xiaomi pulled it out but took out the old souvenir box by mistake. It was the best female lead crown, the New Year greeting card, the notebook, the time diary, the binoculars that kept the victory photo, the cute pen, and the photo of the first class. At the class reunion after 10 years, Xiaomi met Xiao Yu again. She had just accepted Xiao Jun's proposal. However, they were still the same as before, always arguing non-stop. The group of friends had almost gathered together. Dayu had just opened a winery. He actively introduced Xiaomi. He hoped that his product would appear in Xiaomi's movie. Yu said that he saw Roshi at the airport yesterday. Afraid that Xiaomi would be unhappy, everyone quickly changed the subject. However, Xiaomi was still waiting for someone to come back. Xiao Yu heard that Fan Yuan was studying for a PhD in Germany. He was also in a long-distance relationship with Ruolei. At this moment, Ruolei walked in. She said that Fan Yuan was busy with his thesis and couldn't come back. Fan Yuan acted friendly with Xiaomi. She even deliberately asked Xiaomi about Ruoshi. Instead of avoiding her, Xiaomi said directly that she also really wanted to find Roshi to teach him a lesson. In the restroom, Ruolei apologized because she didn't know that Roshi hadn't come back yet. Xiaomi wondered if Ruolei wasn't tired of acting. Ruolei insisted that she was waiting for the person in her heart. No matter what the result was, it was her own business. At that moment, Xiaomi received a phone call saying that there was an important guest. Xiaomi thought it was Roshi, so she hurried back. However, it was Fan Yuan. He wanted to surprise her, so he didn't tell her he was coming back. Fan Yuan had just hugged and greeted Xiaomi when Ruolei walked in. Yuhan wondered if Fan Yuan was hiding his girlfriend when he returned to China. He went to comfort Ruolei because he also wanted to surprise her. Xiaomi talked to Fan Yuan privately. She wondered if he was going to comfort Ruolei. Fan Yuan said he still remembered their 10-year promise, so he returned to China. Xiaomi didn't forget either. She just regretted that someone didn't remember anymore. Fan Yuan said that after Roshi went to Shanghai, Roshi had cut off contact with him. Fan Yuan guessed that Roshi was afraid of involving his friends. Xiaomi blamed Roshi for making a decision on his own without saying anything. Over the years, she had sent him messages at every important milestone in her life. The only time someone answered the phone but was not him, Xiaomi saw Ruolei and asked for permission to go home first to write the script. After Xiaomi left, Fan Yuan didn't want to act with Ruolei anymore. She asked him to give her a chance to talk. It turned out that during their long-distance relationship, Ruolei had an affair with a rich director. But Fan Yuan thought that it was also his fault because he was busy with work and couldn't care about her. He thought she would find someone better. Ruolei questioned why he still only liked Xiaomi. Even though she was the one by his side for so many years, she still couldn't replace Xiaomi. Returning to the old wall of love, Xiaomi now only had one side. Her other half still refused to appear. She went to the secret base. The old memories felt like yesterday. They had gone through anger and sweetness together, but now there was only an empty shell. She said that today was the last day of their 10-year promise with Roshi. If he didn't show up, she wouldn't wait anymore. It turned out that Roshi had always been watching her. He just didn't have the courage to face it. Looking at the farewell message, Roshi fearfully looked for Xiaomi. He stood downstairs waiting for her, but by evening, Mai still hadn't returned. Meanwhile, she was drinking to drown her sorrows at a singing bar. Xiao Yu thought that a cowardly man like Roshi wasn't worth regretting. Fan Yuan wanted to to have a good drink with Xiaomi. Xiao Jun saw Xiao Yu pass out drunk. He asked permission to take his girlfriend home first. Outside, Xiao Jun saw Roshi. Instead of greeting her, he read out the room number to Roshi. In the room, Xiaomi revealed that every time she sang this song, Roshi appeared. She shouted, "Roshi, come out!" Roshi immediately ran in. Because she missed him so much, Xiaomi went over and hugged and kissed Roshi. On the way back, Xiaomi still thought she was dreaming. Roshi told Xiaomi that he was sorry for being bad. "This is not a dream, it's real." Xiaomi complained that he had never given her flowers in her dreams. If he had, she would have given him full marks. She said that roses symbolized love. "Will you love me every day and not disappear tomorrow morning?" Roshi said that he had really returned to her. Xiaomi still did not believe it, because if he had returned, he would have definitely found her sooner. She remembered going to the film school office every admissions season to ask for his name. Everyone advised her to forget him as soon as possible. She wanted to listen to them but couldn't. She could only watch movies like crazy, but his name wasn't there. She warned Roshi not to appear in her dreams from now on, because she wouldn't remember him anymore. Roshi quickly pulled her back because he was really back. He would never leave her again. When she woke up in the morning, Xiaomi remembered her dream last night. She was surprised to see a vase of fresh roses on the table. At that moment, Xiao Yu reported that Roshi had appeared in the newspaper. It turned out that Roshi was a drama actor. He was preparing to enter the film industry with his debut work called Spring Wind. Roshi shared that he was also participating in a TV series recently. That was the most important promise of his life. They promised to go to the film academy, but he was absent for 10 years. During this time, she was still strong enough to carry their dreams alone. Until today, he still hadn't forgotten their promise, and he was back. Roshi's figure suddenly appeared clearly before Xiaomi's eyes. She blamed her mother for letting strangers into the house. Xiaomi was angry and chased Roshi out. Through the door, he could only take all the blame on himself. She texted that he knew the past was irreparable. He didn't expect Xiaomi to forgive him. He just asked her to give him a chance to make up for it. He would always wait for her. At night, Roshi was still waiting downstairs at Xiaomi's house. Fan Yuan came to beat his best friend. He questioned who promised him to take good care of Xiaomi. "But luckily, you're still safe, Roshi." The next day, Roshi's journey to pursue his girlfriend officially began. He followed Xiaomi closely. Then he took her hand and got into the car. He threatened, "If you don't behave, I will kiss you back the night before." Roshi said he came to work. He played the male lead, so he needed to talk more with the screenwriter. At the amusement park, Xiaomi wanted to ride the Ferris wheel. Roshi remembered the last time Xiaomi wanted to collect things to buy, a notebook for him to sign. When he became a big actor, she would sell it to make money. Xiaomi thought it was just a joke when she was young. When the Ferris wheel reached its peak, Roshi wished to be with the person he loved. She laughed because he still believed in childish things. Roshi thought that as long as it came true, he would wish it 1,000 times. On the way to take pictures, Xiaomi discovered that it was about to rain. She felt so scared that she couldn't breathe. Roshi comforted Xiaomi to help her feel more at ease. Back in front of her house, Xiaomi asked Roshi not to come find her anymore. Besides work, she didn't want to see him again. Hearing Roshi ask for a chance, Xiaomi said that in the past 10 years, she had given him a chance every day. In return, he had never given her a chance. He left without saying a word for 10 years. When he returned, he didn't even explain and wanted to start over. But the next day, instead of making it public, Roshi only dared to secretly follow Xiaomi. Ruolei passed by and saw Xiaomi, so she asked about Roshi's return. Xiaomi affirmed that she had never been Ruolei's love rival. If Ruolei was sincere with Fan Yuan, she should cherish him instead of blaming others. After Ruolei left, Roshi ordered a cake for Xiaomi. Hearing that she didn't like the food, he kept changing the cakes. Xiaomi had no choice but to return them to Roshi. He hurriedly ran after her to apologize and promised not to follow her anymore. Just in time, Xiaomi heard that her father was in the hospital. Roshi dragged her to visit Xiaomi's brother. The doctor diagnosed that Mr. Xia only had acute gastritis. Xiaomi's mother thanked Roshi for carrying old Xia to the emergency room. When he returned home, old Xia thanked Roshi. However, he was still angry with Roshi for making his daughter suffer. He said that Xiaomi had been writing scripts day and night to fulfill a 10-year promise. She had always hoped that he would be the male lead in her first movie. Since then, she had developed a fear of rain. Roshi was ashamed and promised not to bother or hurt Xiaomi. Seeing that it was raining outside, Xiaomi worriedly went to look for Roshi. The scene of her running after him alone in the cold rain suddenly appeared. This memory made Xiaomi breathless. But this time, Roshi really came back. He coaxed Xiaomi not to be afraid because he was here. He would not let her cry anymore. Roshi took her to shelter from the rain. He blamed himself for making her so miserable. He affirmed that no matter the weather, he would never leave her. Could Xiaomi forgive him? him? Xiaomi used the excuse of being afraid of affecting the male lead, so she chased after him. The next day, Xiaomi felt a sense of loss without Roshi following her. She used work as an excuse to contact him. Unexpectedly, Xiaojun picked up the phone and said that Roshi no longer had the face to see Xiaomi, so Roshi was packing up and returning to Beijing. Xiaomi went to Roshi's house. Xiaojun was very sorry that Xiaomi was one step late. Roshi left behind a box of Xiaomi's photos. It turned out that he had never been absent from her important milestones. Whether it was when she graduated or went to college, he had always secretly followed her. Xiaomi quickly asked about Roshi's flight when he came out of the room. Xiaojun explained that he saw Roshi had a high fever and was calling Xiaomi's name all night. That's why he had to use this trick. Xiaomi blamed Roshi for colluding with Xiaojun to trick her, but he was really so weak that he fell into Xiaomi's arms. After taking him to the room to take medicine, Xiaomi asked for permission to leave first. Roshi quickly pulled her back. Xiaomi wanted to hear the truth about why he changed his phone number. He hadn't gone to film college and had even secretly followed her. Roshi recounted that after he had arrived in Shanghai, his father had been cheated out of all the money for his mother's surgery. That had been the first time he had seen his father cry like a child. Not long after his mother had had a heart transplant, she had suddenly fainted. She had blamed herself for ruining her son's 2 years of college entrance exams. Because his mother had still been in poor health and the family had not had much money, Roshi had not dared to fill out his application for a school in Beijing. He had returned home to find Xiaomi, but seeing his situation, Roshi had not wanted to implicate her. He had stayed in Shanghai to study and then had gone out to find a job. However, the path to becoming an actor had been full of thorns. He had not got any roles. Roshi had had to deliver goods to earn money. Finally, a company had called him for an audition. However, auditioning had not meant getting accepted. Even though he had failed hundreds of times, he still had not given up because he had wanted to fulfill his promise to become the male lead in Xiaomi's work. Luck had become more and more distant when he had lost the phone with the keychain that Xiaomi had given him. Later, a friend had introduced Roshi to work as an actor in a drama troupe. No matter how difficult it had been, he had tried to make his appointment with Xiaomi. One day, director Wu had found Roshi. He had immediately cast Roshi as the main character in his new work. After his life had gradually stabilized, he had coincidentally read Xiaomi's script. She had recorded all of his best times. Roshi had immediately attended the casting for the male lead. Returning to his hometown, Roshi had bought back his family's old house to wait for Xiaomi to appear. Xiaomi blamed Roshi for always solving problems by himself. As long as he said so, she was willing to go to Shanghai to study. Roshi said that he would never leave Xiaomi again. He wanted her to forgive him. Xiaomi was still angry because he didn't trust her at all. Roshi came to confirm that he would trust Xiaomi 200% in the future. If she didn't forgive him, he wouldn't let go. He was too shy before and missed the time with Xiaomi, but from now on, he would cherish every minute and every second. Roshi looked at Xiaomi and smiled, then took the opportunity to give her a kiss of thanks. The two held hands and returned to the wooden bridge. They remembered the memory of being chased like Tom and Jerry. To relive the feeling, Roshi put on his coat and carried his girlfriend on his back. He decided to work out hard at the gym so that he could carry Xiaomi until she weighed 100 pounds. After a while, Xiaomi's movie officially ended. Director Wu hopes to work with her in her next film. Fuan comes to congratulate Xiaomi. He shows her a childhood photo. Xiaomi didn't expect that she actually met him on the train. At that time, Fuan was bullied, so Xiaomi stood up to protect him. She even used tears to threaten the bad guys. Fuan then gave Xiaomi the photo. He said goodbye to the two of them because he had to go to the airport to return to Germany. At the hotel, Role came to hug Fuan tightly. She was afraid that her brother, who had just been released from prison, would not forgive her. On this side, Roshi gave Xiaomi a surprise. It was a wall full of photos recording all the beautiful moments of their youth. He distracted her to secretly take a kiss photo of his girlfriend. Roshi prepared a bouquet of roses to prove that the present is not her dream. He told Xiaomi that he would love her every day. Would she agree to let him love her for the rest of her life? Xiaomi immediately agreed. During their first camping trip, Roshi and Xiaomi both prepared their outfits carefully. On the way to the meeting point, Xiaomi met an old lady leading her bike up the hill and immediately helped her. The paint bucket above suddenly fell, and Roshi protected his girlfriend in time. As a result, the couple turned into two brilliant rainbows. The old lady believed that since they were so kind, they would definitely be happy forever. When they arrived at the camping site, Xiaomi was surprised to see that her boyfriend had prepared everything. It turned out that he had come here last night to prepare everything himself. Knowing that his girlfriend's cooking skills were limited, Ruoshi Roshi personally grilled meat for her to eat, but the meat suddenly caught fire. Roshi quickly used a fire extinguisher to put out the fire, but ruined all the meat. He was about to go buy food when it suddenly started to rain. He hugged Xiaomi, who was trembling. Roshi wanted to take her out to get used to the rain again. He said the rain was so gentle that even if it hit her hand, it wouldn't hurt. He also heard the rain whisper that it was very happy to be friends with Xiaomi again. She took the courage to overcome her own barriers. Finally, Roshi successfully grilled meat for his girlfriend. He didn't forget to record this happy moment. Just then, Xiao Jun called to confide about Xiao Yu's mood swings. Xiao Jun came to disturb the happy couple. He kept complaining about his premarital life. Their sweet night turned into Xiao Jun's bed. To make up for it, Roshi gave his girlfriend a starry road. He slowly walked over and held her hand tightly. Xiaomi once lent Roshi a star and returned it when she entered the Beijing Film Academy. He apologized for breaking his promise. He no longer had the right to return the previous star, so he prepared a new one. He couldn't change the past, but in the present and future, he would protect her with this star forever. Xiaomi said that Roshi would always be the male lead of her life. The entire starry sky would prove their love. The drama ended here. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, and see you again.